Good morning. A subdued good morning to you in the internets for March 28th, 2022. I'm tired. My attitude is horrible. It'll be fascinating to see how bad it gets during the live stream. The main problem with that is I kind of like doing live streams. So I don't know, this might actually make me feel better, but I'm just telling you right now, as soon as I get on with the live stream, I'm packing it in for the day. I'm not doing a darn thing related. I'm not sitting at my desk for 1 minute more than I have to. I'm out of this. I'm done. I'm tired. Amazingly pissed off. And I'm just done. If someone were to call me today and ask me to represent them as a buyer's agent, I would tell them to call me next week, because I'm not doing, there's all kinds of reasons why I wouldn't do it. And as far as listing your house, I guess, whatever. What number do you want to put on your house? Because somebody will buy it, because people are just insane. How's that? How's that for an opening? 1 minute in, I'm just, you know, for me, and probably maybe my biggest failure is that I will take different parts of what I see, okay, and I'll try to find some meaning in it, right? So it's strange, but here we go. So let's say I go to McDonald's and my order's wrong, okay? All right, so then I've got that. And then let's say I go and I put an offer in on a house, and we have to wait until tomorrow. And so now I'm in limbo. I don't know if we're getting the house or not. So now there's two things. And then let's just say, one of the kids is sick at home. Okay, now I got to figure out those three things and how they relate. And you just do this over and over and over, and you make these wrong connections. It's like, why? Well, none of these are related. But I also have days where it's like, look, I'm shutting this down. Things are not going well. And then something even worse will happen, and that's when I lose it. Now, as I get older, I'm more mild-mannered than I used to be. I don't know. It's strange. I have my caramels. I have two of them there. I didn't get a chance to eat one before I started. I was busy racing around. It's hard to put together a good, exciting show when you're just angry. When you're angry, upset, and disappointed and beside yourself, it's hard to put everything together in a way that's positive, because, again, you start making bad connections. Like, what does one thing have to do with another? We talk about, or I try to teach the kids about, heck, I don't even know if the microphone's working. Okay, it is. We try to teach kids, or at least I do in my family, like cause and effect, or like if you do something stupid will happen to you. Like that there's a reason for your bad. But as I've lived longer, there's a decoupling of that. And it's 100% shown in the government. If someone does something wrong in the government, they're usually promoted. Like that's normally the first thing that happens to them. Now they may have a show trial or some sort of thing happen to them, but there's nothing bad that ever happens to a politician. I mean, what you lose, let's just say you lose an election, so you go lobby. And then you wait until the next administration comes in and you become, a secretary of energy or something. You don't ever leave politics for being wrong. If you're CEO of a major corporation, if it's a company that's doing terribly anyway, let's say a company doesn't make any money, okay, and they bring you in to turn things around, and then you don't make any money doing it. Well, if the blame there is on the other person, you can go ahead and take your golden parachute. After 2 or 3 years of working at a terrible company, as long as you keep it from you can't let it go out of business, because that would hurt your salary. But once you ride that for a while, And then if you can just show marginal improvement, okay, like, so we only lost $500 million last year instead of $600 million. You can parlay that into another job somewhere else where they will call you a turnaround specialist. We reward terrible behavior in this culture all the time. It's very strange. It's very strange. You do not, in 2022, you do not laud people for being smart. You do not give praise to people who work hard. That's not how this works. You want the biggest freak show, and then that's the person you praise. That's what you need. Okay. And you can define freak show however you want to. But I mean, that's how we're doing things now. And so, of course I'm struggling. Why would I mean, everything that is central to my life, everything that's central to the teaching of my children is upside down. Anyway, we've got so much to go over today. I don't know where to start exactly. And I have my notes, but I don't know that my notes are going to help because, I mean, we're going to go in all different directions. I don't know if I want the order to be the way it is. And I don't know where to start first. So I think what we should do is probably let's do the Google Trends article, because it's something that I see is fascinating. So we'll go to that first. So we'll go over here, and I will flip over. Here you go. There we're at. Okay, it says Phil Collins bids emotional farewell to fans at his concert. Now, you might say, if you are in your 20s, who the hell is Phil Collins? Okay. You may even say in your 40s, who the hell is Phil Collins? Well, I'm just going to read. This music legend Phil Collins held his last concert ever amid his ongoing health issues. Collins was joined by Genesis bandmates Mike Rutherford and Tony Banks for their last show ever at London's O2 Saturday evening. I think that's an arena. I think it used to be Wembley. It says Collins, 71, performed the show sitting down and quipped to the crowd he will now need to find a real job. So Phil Collins, he was part of Genesis after Peter Gabriel. Okay? And I don't know if you've seen some of the early, I'm just talking from my generation, okay, and those younger. I don't know if you've seen Peter Gabriel in Genesis, but it was a fascinating mess out of the 70s, maybe the 60s. But anyway, then Phil Collins came in and they were kind of less crazy looking. And then, so Phil Collins, he had some great songs. I mean, Easy Lover. Oh my God. Fantastic. And he was a drummer in theory. Anyway, when you see people, okay, I think you see people as the age of when you first notice them. So I'm probably like 10 years old noticing Phil Collins on MTV, and he's dancing around and everything's good, right? Totally normal. Like everything's fine. And then you get to Phil Collins at 71. It says the band reunited for the last Domino tour this year after postponing due to the virus, the plague. The tour came after a 14-year live performance hiatus. Collins has suffered from numerous health issues in recent years, including dislocating vertebrae on his neck in 2007 that left nerve damage to his hands. He's used a cane since 2015 when he had back surgery and revealed in September he can barely hold a drumstick. He says, I don't do anything at all. I don't practice singing at home. Not at all. Rehearsing is the practice. It says, these guys are always having a go at me for not, but I have to do it this way. Of course, my health does change things. Doing the show seated changes things, but I actually found on my recent solo tours, it didn't get in the way. The audiences were still listening and responding. It's not the way I would have written it, but that's the way it is. And so you see, like, my picture of Phil Collins is a guy alive, dancing around, having a good time. And Phil Collins now is the guy sitting in the chair. Can't drum, Can't do much. Can't even stand up for the concert. And it's just sad. And it's just sad. Here's a picture of him, like, when I remember him. Totally. What happened in 20 years? It's just sad. So what am I saying? Look, like, this is going to happen to all of us. We're all going to end up like this. And people don't realize it when they're young. They're like, oh, everything's going to be fine. That'd be great. I'll just work out more. Everything will be fine. And like, you watch these people and it's not getting better for Phil. You know, it's just not. So we'll go back to the base frame. I just put that in the I don't know what kind of life Phil Collins led. Okay. Personal life. I have no idea. I don't really care that much, but put that in the spot with this Taylor fellow from the Foo Fighters, who used to be part of Alanis Morissette. Now he's 50 years old and dead. Rock stars are supposed to die young. He's dead. He accomplished his goal, I guess. Look, we don't know how he died yet. The toxicology report seemed to indicate that there were many different drugs in his system. But contrast the two. And this is what I tell you about my association of things that's incorrect. On one hand, you have Phil Collins, who's like old and like not the one that you remember. Okay. And then you have this Taylor fellow. He's dead. And 20 years from now, no one's even going to remember him. Most likely. I'm not happy about that. I mean, but what I'm saying is the growing old, okay, is hard. In some ways, it's hard to grow old. In many ways, I think, as I go on down the road, there was a time I had hair. There was a time where I was a runner. Okay. And now I'm at 44 years old. And you say, well, you could work out more and you could do all that. Yeah, I could, I guess. Maybe today I'll go work out. Maybe I'll eat better. But I'm going to die. At some point, it's going to be over. And I might have to suffer these indignities. And I already have to suffer a few of them that we're not going to talk about. But as I get older, there's going to be even more. And so a couple things. One, we've taught the youngest generation that old people are just fools, that they shouldn't be paid attention to in any way. When I was growing up, that wasn't the case. If you look at like the Wall Street Journal and who they've hired on their editorial board and what they've said in the past, you'll see that the kids just don't know that they're supposed to, give some sort of deference or respect to the elders. And that's fine. The more they turn away from that kind of stuff, the more the world will turn into a more terrible place than it already is. So keep it up. But I'm telling you, I just, when you see these people, like now that Taylor he's 50 years old. So I've got 6 years to go until I can beat him in the age game. But I've never had the opportunity to be in a rock band. I never had millions of dollars. Probably had a few ladies that were interested in him over his lifetime. Maybe he was interested, maybe he wasn't. I don't know. I just don't have that problem. So 200,000 people were watching, or 200,000 people searched for Phil Collins' last concert in the United States. That's not even the rest of the world. There were some other things that happened last night, but I'm not going to get into them because I've learned that Hollywood has a way with popular culture, has a way, it shapes it. People search about it. They generate search. It's just like sports. It's really interesting how they've built these industries to where they make it so you have to talk about it. So I'm going to do the thing that I don't have to. I'm not. So there's that. Now I'm going to check my notes. Okay, now we'll talk about this. Fair enough. You guys know I started a Discord channel, right? Well, if you don't, I did like a week ago, and Discord is hard for me to understand. I don't have it there yet. So this weekend I had somebody get in my Discord server and say like, hey, there's a lot of fraud in real estate. And so I have to be very careful. And so, somebody got into my server. I talked to them. They were like, hey, I got a list of house in Jefferson County. Are you in? And I'm like, I don't even know who you are. And it's like, I got to help my friend sell. And it's like, can I meet you guys up? Can I hook you guys up so that you can be on the same server? And I don't even know what she's talking about. And I don't know if it's a she. It's got a she name. And the lady, like, we're going to call her lady. She just got into the server that I was in, like, I don't know, a couple hours before she talked to me. I mean, it seemed like it was kind of fake. And so I did the thing I normally do. I kind of just stretched out. Well, she's like, are you going to help me or not? I'm like, I don't even know who you are. I don't know that I want to connect to anybody else. Why doesn't the person that, you know where I'm at, why don't you just why doesn't the friend just connect to me, right? Maybe this is the wrong thinking on Discord, but I'm telling you guys because I don't understand it. I want Discord to be a nice little place where we can chat all day, except for today because I'm shutting it down after the live stream. But anyway, I'd like it to be where I could link it to my YouTube and we could just have a great time. But I'm not sure that's going to be possible right now because I was shunned. This user, if that's what they're called, was not having any of my stuff on, I guess it was Saturday. Like, I'll list someone's house. I'll list someone's condo. But you have to kind of come through channels that make sense because, what are we doing here? Are you an agent? If you're an agent, I have to pay a commission. Or I have to pay a referral fee. How much is a referral fee? Okay. What's the deal with this? Why is your friend selling a house in Jefferson County? You live in Georgia, and yet we're not, why don't you literally can't look me up online? I mean, that's what I'm saying. It was scuzzy, sketchy, not something I wanted to deal with. And you say, well, John, you lost like a wonderful listing. Haha. I'm like, one of the biggest problems I have with the business that I'm in is I only want to work with people I like. This is a hard business. And I want to know my clients. And I mean, to know them, meaning like I want to be on equal footing with my clients as far as, respect. If you don't like real estate agents, if you hate us, then call someone else because I don't like to be hated. I don't like to be hated on. I don't need your business. I can make it. Okay. I will make it whether or not you choose me or not. I mean, like I said, what really hurts me is when I have clients that, choose someone else over time because of their own circumstance. I've had that happen a number of times now, and it hurts. It hurts to do a good job for someone and they go with someone else down the road. Really bad. That one hurts because that's, I'm dependent on referrals from my friends and my family and my former clients for business. I mean, that's my main source of business. You say, well, John, you can just buy leads at Zillow. You can just pay leads at realtor.com. You can just do leads, 17 other different places. You could, but you got to understand, guys, working just to work, it's not for me. It's not for me. Never has been. I have to have some sort of desire to work. And that's, working with people that appreciate what I'm doing or are attempting to do. And this market's very tough. So anyway, the Discord thing kind of hurt because I don't understand enough to know what I'm doing, but you kind of have to play, like you have to screen people. Now let's talk about screening. I mean, look, if you're expecting the normal Deerwood Realty John Shink live stream this morning, It's not going to happen. I'm just not in the mood. I don't even know. I don't even really care about the time. I don't really care about the format. I'm just going to go through my things, and if it's not where you want to be, that's fine. But you have to screen people when you work in this business. And let me tell you a couple reasons why. One, for example, let's say somebody wants you to list their house. Okay. Number one, you don't even know if that person can sell their house. You don't even know if the person talking to you is the person that owns the house. Okay. And yes, people are dumb enough to sell houses or try to sell houses where the person trying to sell it isn't the owner of the house. So you've got that problem on that side. And you've got sellers that want to sell things for so much more than, any sort of, the strategy is wrong, just basically wrong. And they're so uninformed that you just get really, really into a bad spot. You have sellers that, like, say I'm selling a hoarder's house. Okay. Some of that shit has to be cleaned up. We can't have people running through the house with all that stuff in there and the smell of dead animals. It's just not going to work. So there has to be screening. Oh my God. I'll tell you. Yeah. Anyway. So there's that. Then on the buyer side, have you ever had somebody call you out of the blue at maybe 9:00 in the evening and say, hey, I want to go look at this house that's for sale? Like right now, I have to go right now, or else I'm going to find somebody else. That's a setup, right? And that's a good chance to get murdered. Now, how is that a bad situation? Well, a lot of government funds from the housing administration go to organizations that try to ensnare real estate agents for violations of fair housing. So they pay they'll pay a local organization, and they'll pay the people. And the way it goes is this. The narrative is, hey, all these real estate agents are not following the law of fair housing. And so you're a virtuous person. And so what you need to do is you need to call these people. You need to use this script and then ensnare these terrible real estate agents on fair housing violations so that no one has ever discriminated against buying a house. And like, as a young person that's an activist, this is music to your ears. This gives you your life value. This gives your life's meaning. So what you do is you take this script and you call people at 9:00 at night, real estate agents, and you say, I want to go look at this house. And then if I say, well, I'm not going to show you the house tonight, are you pre-approved? They're going to write that down in their notebook, and then they're going to say, look, I was discriminated against because the person won't show me a house. But that's not the business that I'm in. I'm not a tour guide. Okay. My business is to help buyers buy homes, and that means they have to have a pre-approval. That means they have to have some story that makes sense. When you can't answer the simple question, well, how are you looking to move? When are you looking to move? Where are you living now? When you can't answer any of those questions, that's a setup. That's a setup. And and you say, well, maybe it's not a setup, John. Well, if you can't answer those questions, okay, you're not being honest with me. You have to live somewhere. Okay. You have to have an address. Okay. You're not homeless moving into a house. That's not going to work. Probably live in an apartment first. And so anyway, it's terrible. It's a terrible way to go. So you have to work with people, and, so that's what I do. It's part of the business. I just got my 20th call from Rocket Mortgage out of Detroit, Michigan. Those guys are fascinating. They will call me now. They've fired their last manager, and now they've got another manager. And so he'll call me now for the next probably 2 weeks. Then he won't make his numbers. They'll fire him and they'll bring in somebody else. If one of them actually did bring their numbers, did get their numbers, they would move on to a different part of the company, because reaching out to realtors all day and telling them how great Rocket Mortgage is a bad job. but they don't know any better. They just have a job. They're happy. Anyway, I won't use Rocket Mortgage. I mean, if my buyers say I want to use Rocket Mortgage, then we'll use them, but it's not me recommending them. Local lenders. That's how to go. Done. So we got the Discord thing out of the way. I wanted to show you on Twitter something that I did, and I hope you would enjoy it. And it goes in with the now I can't see it until I go to it, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but can you see it now? I made a GIF, and it says buyer's agent here. Everything is fine. But it's like Sting from the 80s. From the song Synchronicity 2. In the song, it talks about suburbia, the hellscape. I don't know that anybody picked up on it. I put it in my Discord server. I put it over there, and no one laughed. I didn't even get one word. No one figured it out. And that was in a real estate specific one. I put it on Twitter. Let's see the stats. 30 people saw it. I put it on Facebook. I got like 2 likes. So I guess it's no good. Which makes me sad. Like, I can't even make a GIF. My first GIF, no one liked. So that's sad. You know, you'd like to get somewhere. I mean, you'd like to have somebody enjoy stuff, right? I mean, someone else did one and they're just laughing up. But me, no. No, I'm nothing. So that's sad. I mean, it's just sad. You try something. I mean, I haven't made a GIF before. I make one up and no one likes it. So if you can't see it, I apologize. I can't tell if you can see it or not when I do it. Because I don't know. Anyway, let's just go back to the base. So I'm wearing a loud sweater today. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. I'm 44 years old. This is the first time I've ever bought a loud sweater. But whatever. We could make fun of me. Okay, so here's where we're going to change things up. So let's do a home showing report. Yesterday, I showed houses in North County to a nice buyer, and we went to 3 houses. The first house was listed by what I would say would be an institutional investor. It's basically what you do is you sell your house to this company. It's kind of like Carvana, except it's for houses. And then they own it, and then now, as a real estate agent, they pay me less in commission, and for the benefit of showing the house specifically their way, because they can't just do it like everyone else. They can't just have showing time and me schedule an appointment. I have to call a call center in India to get an appointment for a house in North County here in St. Louis, and then they can't just give me the code like a normal human. I have to wait until an hour before the showing to get the code to go see the house. So the first house we see, what they normally do is they'll buy the house, they'll make some repairs, and then they'll sell it. Okay. Now you say, why can't anybody do that? Well, people can't be bothered these days to do anything. Okay. I'm not going to do anything. They get inherited a house. They're like, I'm not doing anything with it. Screw it. Just sell it. Here, this company's going to buy it. Good. Get me out of it. It's just the way it is. So then these people, paint it. Now this house here, they paint it, they virtually stage it, and then they list it for like $20,000 higher than what the asking price should be. And in this market, people are buying it because, let's be honest, people are nuts. So we go to the first house, and the level of terrible that this house is, they cleaned out everything in the house. They pulled up the carpet in the basement because, of course, it leaks. And they didn't disclose that because the funny thing about this company is, when they buy a house, they've never lived in it. So on the disclosure, they don't disclose anything because they don't know anything. So you never get a clean disclosure. And that's kind of probably why sellers choose them first to buy the house, because they're like, oh, I've got all these problems. No one's going to want to buy this house at this price, so I'll give it to this company, and then they can not disclose anything. So then you buy this house and it's got no, plus anyway, it's terrible for the real estate business, but it's going to continue and deal with it. Right. So we go there. The people they hired to paint the thing spilled paint in every room on the floors. It's a terrible house. The pricing is stupid. And I mean, awful. So then we go to another house. Also by the same, this company is buying a lot of homes in St. Louis. They're buying a lot of homes everywhere. And they're really, really distorting the market. And it's really causing problems. But no one cares. Okay. No one cares. It's really, why are house prices so high? Gee, I don't know. Why do you think that is? Stupid. Anyway, go to the next house. They put a price on it that was ridiculous. This house is a shack. It should be torn down. And they've got a price on there as if you could move in tomorrow. It's just disgusting. Just disgusting. My buyer's like, what is this? This is stupid. I said, look, this one was so bad, they didn't even clean it out. They're just like, people buy it anyway. Let's put it up. So then we went to the third house. Now understand, we've gone to 2 institutionally owned homes. Okay. And now we go to the third house owned by a human. It was in an estate. My buyer needs a 3-bedroom home. This had 3 bedrooms. Problem is it had 2 main bedrooms on the first floor, 3rd bedroom in the basement. He's got kids, would like them all to be on the same floor. Also would like a shower instead of a tub with a shower, meaning like it was a jet tub and then you have a hand shower. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. So you'd have to change out the bathroom. Priced right, just not the right setup. So that was disappointing. But when we looked at that house, it was so much better than the institutionally owned homes and cheaper. It just looked like a deal. And so after, like, you get caught up. So that's what happened. I was caught up. He was caught up. We said, well, we should put an offer on this one. Even though it didn't even come close to what we need for him. That was that. Now, let's go over the what I would call the home sadness, the home selling sadness. And that's really where I'm at today and what's causing me to be upset. So I had many showings this weekend, okay, and I had 2 offers coming, meaning I was going to write 2 offers. It's Monday morning, I have none. Why is that? Well, the first house, I told you this yesterday, the comps for the house were $40 a square foot higher than anything else that ever sold in the neighborhood. The people selling the homes conveniently didn't disclose some things on the disclosure form. And when we confronted the agent, they said, yeah, there's some sump pump issues. We probably should have put that on the disclosure. You think? But will there be punishment? No. Will someone buy this house for more than asking? Yes. My buyer could only go to what it would appraise to. They don't have the cash to be able to cover an appraisal gap. We can't buy this house. And that's the frustrating thing. And that's what's getting me really upset. I can't sell houses to people. I can't, as a buyer's agent, I can't do anything because the prices are so high. Okay. And my buyers are just normal people. They're just normal people. They're not bad people. Okay. But when housing has gotten so expensive, it's not like they have a lot of cash on hand that they're going to be able to buy this house and cover the appraisal gap. Okay. And you say, well, that's too bad, John. Too bad. You know what? If your buyers can't afford houses, that's their fault. They're bad people. These are people that go to work every day, have families. Okay. These are real people. These are not bad people. And you're And you're saying because of your position in life that these people don't deserve a nice home. You're a bad person. You're a bad person. Your brains have eaten your brain. Worms have eaten your brain. If I said brains have eaten your brain, it's because I'm still angry about it. Okay, now then the next one. Find a wonderful house in a certain part of town. I don't want to. Excited. My buyer can cover an appraisal gap. Okay. I don't want to use the real numbers, but let's just say this: the house was listed for $100,000. We're saying this because we're not using the real prices. Okay. But we will use the real spread in the difference. The house was listed for $100,000, which was $20,000 more than anything that had sold in that neighborhood. Okay. We were prepared to go 20,000 over asking. So we were at 120. House should have sold for 80. House was probably worth 80. Was being listed for 100. We were willing to go to 120. I was in touch with the we wrote the offer. We were ready to send it over. I texted back and forth with the agent. They had 8 offers over $160,000. So $80,000 over what the house should have sold for. And that's what people were writing offers on. 8 offers. Got blown out of the water. Didn't even send it over. What's the point? That's the market we're in. People have gone batshit crazy. Why? Are you going to blame the real estate agents for this one? Do you think I can really go to my buyer and say, you know what? We're $80,000 over what we should be paying, and I think that's great because it's just the market is terrible. You go ahead and put down your hard-earned money for this. This house doesn't warrant it, but you go ahead and do it so that we can win. What are we winning here? And by the way, what's going to happen when the tax is reset for everybody that lives in that condo complex? I say condo complex. I meant the homes in the subdivision. What's going to happen when people bought houses that they're already close to their borrowing limits, and now the tax rates raise they'll raise in the thousands. This is how dumb the world is. We have in St. Louis County, specifically Afton, we have the fire department asking for more money for their pension because of the growth of the Afton district. They're putting in a $700 million housing complex across the street from me. And the fire department needs more money for their pension. And people are all for it because sure. These are the same people that I guess don't have a problem paying their what will be very high taxes already, because I mean, if you think like our neighborhood used to sell like tops 280, we're at like 350 now. That's going to affect your tax base. It's ridiculous. And I was talking with one of my friends, is if you're a county executive, if you're especially in the unincorporated portion, you see this money that's going to come in, man, raises for everyone. Maybe we can put in a new community pool. I mean, that way we can pay off the contractors that help us get elected. We can grease so many palms with all this tax money that's going to come in. Who has an incentive to keep home prices low in the United States? In government. This is a problem. This is a problem. It's coming for you. It's coming for all of you. And you know this. I've told you. This is not sustainable. This is bad. And so this is why I'm in a bad mood. My job is to get people in housing, okay? And I can't do that right now. I can't do my job. Last year, I worked through a terribly challenging environment where I didn't have any buyers and I didn't have any sellers because the buyers that I had couldn't, were going to have to find something before they sold their house. So I mean, I've had 1 year and now I'm right into the busy season, and I'm literally, I'd pull out my hair, but I don't have any. The last time the housing market crashed, what did real estate agents get out of it? Well, a lot of hate. It was all our fault. Somehow the mortgage companies didn't need it like we did. We had to get our fingerprints. We were required to get our fingerprints as a result of new laws written by people that aren't physically selling houses or buying houses every day. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And I hate everything right now. And I'm to that point. Just sick. Just sick of what's going on. And so I'm not doing anything today. I'm just not. I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. And does that hurt anybody else? No. It doesn't. If Deerwood Realty died tomorrow, no one would care. People would, if I died tomorrow and I had 7 clients, the real estate agents would walk right over my dead body. Maybe even walk right, they wouldn't even walk over it. That's the world we live in. They wouldn't even step over my dead body. They would just walk on top of me because I was in the way. That's how bad it is. And it's just disgusting. It's disgusting. So that's where I'm at. So then on my Twitter, I'm going to go over to my Twitter. And you know what? We're going to have the show that we need to have. I was a little nervous about, well, let me see something. This isn't good. Okay. Because normally whenever I do a show, I've got to get off right at an hour because I have things to do today. I have things to do. I'm not doing them. I don't care. Call me. See what happens. See how quick it goes to voicemail. You say, well, John, you're living a luxury life that you can just afford to take off on a Monday. I've worked for 14 days straight, 10-hour days. I'm beat. I'm frustrated, and I hate it. So piss off, I'm living the life, right? Anyway. So we'll go back to Twitter. And so I had that GIF and no one liked it and it was hurtful, but whatever. So then then there was an article I read and I wanted to share it with you. It's up here. It says, this woman said, article premise, investors good for housing as they shield declines, thoughts. And it's a Barron's article. And so this was from a woman, but she didn't write the article. And so what I thought we could do is I thought we could go to the Barron's article if they let us. But here's the chart that you need to see. The thought is that investors are buying houses and therefore that the house prices will never go down. So if you actually own a house, this is great because your house is always going to go up in value. It's the people that have to buy houses that are really in a bad spot. And that's pretty much what I say is true. Okay. So it says, so then I wrote, this is going to be a problem at some point for the American dream of owning your own home. And I believe that. And I've tried to sound the alarm both in my podcasts and my live streams. Like, you don't want institutional investors in home buying. This is not a good plan. And like, they're buying more than like a house. I mean, they're buying hundreds of thousands of houses across the United States. This is not good. Not good. But no one cares, right? We have other problems. So here's the article. I just want to go over it. Now, understand that this woman's critique is of this article. And these people are out of touch in Barron's. They always have been. Why housing may not get as hammered as usual in this rate hike cycle. It says recent data suggests that the housing market is cooling quickly as mortgage rates climb. But there are reasons. Now, listen, this is not the data that I'm seeing. This is a narrative at this point. There are reasons to be upbeat on housing, even as economists predict pain. Sales of existing homes, which make up most of the market, unexpectedly fell 7% in February from a month earlier, as the 30-year mortgage rate rose to about 4.1 in February to from 3.6 in January. Don't. That is a false statistic. The reason why homes fell in February was there was no inventory. There was no new houses coming on the market for my buyers to buy. That is the reason. That is the reason. I'm living it. I'm doing it every day. I'm going out and showing houses and watching them, and I'm seeing My buyers want a certain type of house and it doesn't come on the market. And when it actually does come on the market, there's 14 or 15 offers and then you can't buy it. So then you wait again for weeks or months before another house comes on the market that your buyers want. This is the issue. It is not because home buying has cooled in any way. If home buying had cooled in any way, why are people offering $80,000 more than asking price just this weekend? This is what I hate. People are stupid. They write articles and they don't know anything about what they're talking about. They get an expert and the expert looks at the data and says, oh, well, I see the data is going down. Therefore, it must be true. No, you're not right. Economists, and by the way, economists are idiots. Don't give me economists. Give me specific economists. Don't just take all of them. That's the thing. There's no such thing as uniformity in science. There's no such thing as uniformity in economies. Okay? People think different things. Ugh. That's why when people say they trust the science, you know they're an idiot. Because the science is never settled. It was scientific consensus that the world was flat. The earth was flat. Does that make it right? Let's continue. It says, economists warn that it's just the start as the Federal Reserve begins tightening monetary policy. Housing demand lags behind mortgage rates by 2 or 3 months, says Jefferies chief economist Aneta Markawasaka. Bottom line, this is the most interest rate sensitive sector of the economy and will probably struggle in the first half of the year. Ian Shepperton, chief economist at Pantheon Macroeconomics, points out that mortgage applications have already dropped by more than 10% from their peak. He said that such applications are likely to fall much further in the second quarter. The market is turning down. Expect a sustained weakening. Tell that to my 20 buyers that can't buy a freaking house right now because the prices are ridiculous. Going into the busy season. And interest rates have gone up. Interest rates, borrowing rates on a mortgage have probably gone up almost 100 basis points in a like 2-week period. And I still this weekend got blown out of the water on offers. Wall Street's warnings are warranted given the inflation problem that the Fed has only just begun addressing. They caused it. Who do you think was buying down all the mortgage-backed securities and keeping them artificially low? Who was that? Who was that? What is that? I mean, this is they caused these bubbles. And then now, Jerome Powell, has that guy been fired? He's been around now for what, 8 years? No, been through 2 administrations, doesn't get fired. He's doing a great job. That's what I'm saying in government. And you know where he'll go afterwards? Princeton, Yale. That's what I'm saying. You get a golden parachute for being an idiot in government. No offense to the guy. I'm sure he's a nice man. I'm sure that maybe he donates to like pet rescue, or maybe he doesn't eat meat. I mean, maybe there's something good about him, right? But at the end of the day, that doesn't take away from the fact that they're literally causing housing bubbles, and they're too stupid, or they're doing it on purpose. One or the other. But let's continue. Said that the central bank is prepared to raise interest rates in half-point increments, perhaps as soon as its May meeting, and possibly well above the so-called neutral rate that represent a just-right economy. While housing will no doubt soften as interest rates rise, there are a couple reasons, apart from demographics and the work-from-home trend, to bet that it holds up better this time versus past tightening cycles. So this is an article, like the woman tweeted, that's saying, hey, the house prices are really, really high, and they're going to stay high. Isn't that great? Because of investors. Yay! First, consider what Roberto Perli, head of global policy at Piper Sandler, by the way, these people that have these jobs are just disgusting. Head of global policy. Can you have a more inflated ego than that job title? Says about Powell's unmistakably more hawkish tone, despite any new economic data at the time he publicly spoke. Voters of all stripes don't like inflation, and politicians are probably letting Powell know. Political winds may shift quickly if Fed tightening slows down the economy. We have zero doubt that Powell would respond to that situation, just like as he was responding to the opposite now. In other words, Powell's bark may be worse than his bite. This isn't to suggest that for housing, a sharp economic slowdown is a good trade-off for lower mortgage rates. It's simply to say that the Fed may opt to protect growth at the expense of bringing consumer price inflation, now running at 7.9%, to within striking distance of its 2% target. This is bullshit. They're not going to fix this. Why aren't they going to fix this? Because the things that they think they control, they don't. Russia has pretty much shown that they don't need the US dollar. That's a big problem, okay? They also don't care about your sanctions. That's a big problem, okay? You have big problems, and you're gonna screw with the rates because that's your only lever. Good luck. By the way, if their target's 2% and we're running at 8% inflation, they're off the target. Should they be fired? It's a political job. This is all politics. It's got nothing to do with real economics. That's a bet many are making. Investors keep plowing money into housing despite growing macro risks. In the most recent quarter, investor purchases surged. There we go. In the most recent quarter, investor purchases surged 42% from a year earlier. And the firm says investors now account for 33% of all U.S. home purchases, about 5 percentage points higher than the average share over the past decade. And these are not like your mom and pop companies. Investors are binging on buying houses, buying 42% more homes than a year earlier, even as home prices surge. While some traditional home buyers surely sped up their purchases before the Fed lifted rates this month, no, my buyers couldn't. They literally couldn't buy a house. Investors often buy homes in cash and aren't directly affected by mortgage rates. That's true, which makes it doubly bad. Large investors are quickly taking share from the mom and pop investors that have long made up the vast majority of housing investors, and he estimates that roughly $60 million in institutional money is currently aimed at the space. Investor activity was crazy last year. It's now even crazier. That's right. That's right. 2 of the 3 houses I saw last night were owned by investors, quote unquote. Big time Wall Street backed investors that don't give a damn about you. They hate you. They literally hate you. They want your money and they want you to die. That's what they want. The mania reflects investors' elevated inflation expectations. They are buying real estate as hedges, parking cash in a place where they can raise rents and wages as overall prices climb. Yes. And who do you think is going to pay for that? You idiot worker. Oh, look at you. You got a 2% raise. Oh, wait a minute. Inflation is 7%. I didn't get anything. That is as supply chain problems fail to improve in the way economists and policymakers have hoped. And has anybody been fired for that? No, because that's just it. If you get a certain job, you never get fired. You always fail upwards. You're full of shiza. I said it. For home builders, Palacio says supply issues are worsening as China locks down again in response to rising COVID cases. Now that's just bogus. And the war in Ukraine takes significant amounts of commodities out of the market. I mean, hey, welcome to like $12 a gallon gasoline. And by the way, that the politicians don't want to fix. This is all exacerbating a housing shortage that helped push prices about 20% higher last year. For perspective on how limited supply is helping home values, there were about 1 million more homes available for sale when mortgage rates last hit 4.5%. His firm recently listed its 2022 home price appreciation estimate to 12% from 8%. 12% more. Economists say rising prices, especially alongside rising mortgage rate, are a headwind for near-term housing activity. But given that housing makes up about 40% of the consumer price index, and because rent prices follow home prices by roughly 12 to 18 months, that's not even happening. If you buy a house right now to rent, you're renting that thing out for significantly more than you had anticipated. And all these people that are in these rentals can get ready to really, really get raped. Not good. Inflation should in turn push housing nearly a fifth of the gross domestic product higher. One way for stock investors to participate. Oh, that's what I want. Despite reasons to remain positive on housing, there's no reason to remain positive on housing. Investors can't dismiss that owner-occupied and thus more mortgage rate sensitive buyers still make up the majority of the housing market. Oh no, what do? We'll just buy more houses as investors. We'll make it so that we're the only ones in the pool. And Palacios, as quickly as investors have driven up home prices, they've done it and they're happy about it. Okay, so too can they accelerate a housing downturn should the U.S. fall into a recession. Are they going to dump all their houses? They don't have to. That's the main point of your article. But given the number and zeal of housing investors and given record low inventory, Palacios says investors would quickly put a floor beneath prices. If anything, they're eager to see opportunities come up because the market has been so hot. Yes, that's right. They will just keep buying. They will just keep buying. They don't. This is really, there's a disconnect between what people think is going on, what is going on. People think that it's single family, it's just families that are doing well buying these houses. It's investors with straight cash coming in and taking over everything. And I've tried to sound the alarm for months and no one seems to care. And then this article here doesn't say like, oh, this is a problem. No, in fact, it glorifies the investor and says that it's great because now home prices won't go down. That's great if you own a house, maybe, but if you don't, you're causing generational harm in the housing market. And you say, well, how long I'm going to go with generational. My definition is 10 years. It took us 10 years to dig out of the last mess that these people are around in. Now we're going to do it again. It says it's a double-edged sword. It says investors buying a bigger share of homes worsens the affordability problem confronting many buyers and translates to higher rents for those not willing or able to buy. For now, though, investors may help protect the housing market, related stocks, and overall economy from some of the pain that rising rates would otherwise make inevitable. This is a freaking problem. This is a problem. Really. You literally have people that have full-time employment, living a good life, saving, doing everything. By the way, why are they saving when inflation eats away the savings like, ridiculous? But anyway, you have this going on and we're happy about it. We're happy about what's going on. Thank God for the investors that are making it impossible to buy a house for the working class. That's problems. That's problematic. You guys really, really need to think that one through. So anyway, I've said what I can say. No one cares. I can't even get my GIF out to more than 30 people. That's a problem. Anyway, you want to look at some houses? What I'm going to do is I'm going to say that was an article today, and then I'll say that one other article is, and then we'll go from there. What I wrote in my notes is overpriced institutional homes with no penalty for owning. Yeah, that's right. And I might not go. I might save everything for tomorrow. I'm an hour in. I don't particularly want to spend too much time on this stuff. We can look at Napa houses tomorrow. In fact, that's what we'll do. We'll just cut it down today to this. It'll just make things easier for tomorrow when I come back at 9. When you have institutional owners of homes, when they go to sell them, it's not like you're not, if a family is going to go try and buy an institutionally owned home, it's usually a mess. It's usually exactly what I'm saying. You say, why that? Because they don't care. They don't care. They don't care about any of that stuff that you would care about if you owned a home. It's a mess. This is a problem. I don't know what else to do about it. It's bad. It used to be, here's like, I'm going to try and explain this to you the best I can. Okay. It used to be you have a house that's maybe the person was a hoarder. Okay. And then they died, and that was sad. And the family said, oh my God, what are we going to do? So they went to a local investor and they said, hey, can you buy this house? And the local investor would be like, yeah, but it's going to cost me a lot of money to do all this stuff. You're going to pay me, I'll give you X. Let's say I'll give you 10 cents on the dollar. They say, well, that's outrageous. So then they go to a real estate agent and say, hey, we got to sell a house. What are we going to do? I said, well, the house isn't going to sell for a lot, but we can, as long as we clean it up, we can put it on the market. We get a little something. You'll get more than you would if you sold it to the investor. So they normally go that route. But now the family of the hoarder says, oh, this company has a cute commercial on TV. We'll call them. And that company says, we'll buy your house. We'll buy your house. You have to pay us some fees, but it'll be somehow cheaper than a real estate agent. And you don't have to go through all the trouble. Oh, well, that sounds great. So then they sell it. Okay. So then institutional investor now, okay, buys the house and they don't do anything. They literally maybe clean it out. They may get the Home Depot carpet for $75 and they put it right back on the market for more than it really should go for. And then they do that on purpose. You say, why? Because they can afford to hold the house as long as they want to. What do they care? What do they care? I say, well, they'll lose money. Well, see, you got to understand, that's the difference between a regular person and an institution. If a regular investor is holding that house, okay, they got to turn it. So they have to price it somewhat close to relevant. If you're a massive multi-worldly conglomerate, you let a house sit for years. If they don't buy it, they don't buy it. There's no reason to lower the price. It just ruins the supply of housing. And there's no penalty. That's why house prices get more expensive, because people have to buy garbage. It's just sad that you don't see it and you don't understand what's going on. I suspect you do. I suspect I explained it well enough that you know what's up, what's going on. With that, I'm going to head out. I'm sad. Like I said, I'm probably going to check my my Twitter account. I'm probably going to eat something good with my wife. Probably going to have lunch with my wife. And I'm just going to hide. I'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. I'll probably start back in the day tomorrow. And I might not do anything tomorrow. I might just be... I told my wife yesterday, I said, why am I even doing this? Why am I driving around all weekend long, showing houses, writing offers that aren't ever going to be accepted? That's stupid. That's stupid. Take a vacation. A couple months from now, maybe things will be different. The Fed says they're going to do 6 rate hikes this year. The economy is going to go off a cliff, and that's fine, right? Who cares? It's just bad. It's bad. Things are not in a spot in real estate for me right now. If you are a buyer's agent and you are successful getting your deals done, good for you. Good for you. I'm not willing to go into the space that you are. $80,000 over asking for a house is a little bit ridiculous. Okay. It just is. That's all I have for you today. I'm going to go. Hopefully I haven't lost any friends today. Hopefully I haven't lost any viewers. I haven't lost anyone in the chat because I have had no one in the chat since I started the program. I mean, this is getting ridiculous, but you know what? I'm going to keep doing it because I kind of like it. You say, well, no one's here at 9 a.m. I said, that's true. But I see them other places. When other streamers stream, they get people in the morning. So I've had about enough of that thought too. It's just my show is not doing as well as I'd hoped. I don't know what I'm going to do to retool it. I know how you would retool it. You get rid of me and put some, attractive lady on and just have her read. Would get more views than me. And it's sad. I don't want to be sexist, but I mean, that's just kind of how the world works. Depressing. Anyway. Good luck. Hope your day goes better than mine. Mine's going to go great, actually, because I'm not going to be doing any real estate.